It's really great to see everyone here for such an important occasion. I just want to start by just honoring our guests and members of the community. I'm Assistant Chief David Lazar. I'm the Chief of Operations for the San Francisco Police Department. On behalf of Mayor Lurie, Chief Scott, and our District Attorney Jenkins, I would like to welcome you and thank you for taking the time to participate in this afternoon's National Crime Victims Week observance. And I also want to give a shout out to our Sheriff Miyamoto, who is here in front, also an important partner, and our Fire Chief, Dean Crispin. Thank you so much for being here. I first would like to thank our Chief of Police, Bill Scott, who over a late night with his assistant, Lisa Ortiz, and their team had this vision for continuing Victims' Rights Week and thought of this beautiful venue. I don't think we've ever had an event out here in the park, so I want to thank the Chief and give him a round of applause for everything he does for our city and for our department. I want to thank the Community Engagement Division of the SFPD, our mounted unit. One of our officers was going to retire yesterday and decided to stay, Bob Byrne, and he's here because he wanted to make sure that he was on his horse for this last event. Yes, round of applause for Bob Byrne, way out in the distance. I want to thank our Honda unit, our K9 unit, members of Richmond Station, Captain Canning, thank you very much. I want to thank Rob Ashpole, one of our professional staff in front that helped us get the grant for this event. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Rob. We have Deputy Chief Aswani's here, Acting Commander Alexa O'Brien. I want to thank them, Director Lacey, Director Gorman. But I also want to thank members of the Investigations Bureau that are here. A lot of these nicely dressed men and women that are here are members of our homicide unit. And they work very hard on these cases to make sure. And we have, in San Francisco, we have one of the highest case clearance rates in the country at 94%, where these men and women are working really hard to solve these cases. And we're not going to rest until we solve every single case in San Francisco. So I'm very, very thankful for them. And I want to recognize also Ivy Lee, who's here, who is our director of our Mayor's Office of Victim Services, who works day and night to make sure that everyone's connected to services, and is so grateful that she's here. I want to recognize the families of victims of violence, and especially our homicide mothers that are here, that we pray for you, and we're here, and we support you, and we walk with you during these times, and we're honored to have you with us. And fathers, yes, and fathers too. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for reminding me. I want to thank Commissioner Scott, our new police commissioner. Round of applause for our new commissioner, who you'll hear from shortly, along with Dr. Castro Rodriguez and Mrs. Baltanano, who's up here. We look forward to hearing from you. I want to thank Phil Ginsburg for letting us spend time in his beautiful park. Thank you very much. Shout out to the Rangers. Chief Tolak from Adult Probation's here. I want to thank Ashel Acosta, who's here from our San Francisco Police Community Foundation. I want to thank Paul Yep, who is our Chief of Public Safety and former commander. Thank you, Paul. I want to thank our alert volunteers and all the community, and I hope I didn't miss anybody, but we love, Commissioner Larry Yee. And we also have our other commissioner. Thank you to all our police commissioners, incognito with that hat and glasses, I see. But thank you, Ivy, for pointing them out. And thank you for everyone being here today. All right, at this time, I'd like to call Miss Janice Smith to come up and sing the national anthem.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for standing, because I was going to ask, but thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, oh, what so proudly we hailed as the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes light stars through the us fight. O'er the ramparts we watch were so gathering, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs burst through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you, Ms. Smith. I would now like to call up our San Francisco Police Chaplain, Father Michael Quinn, for the invocation.
In honor of the mayor, chiefs, Sheriff Miyamoto, and honored guests, Chief Crispin, and mostly the victims of violence. We ask our loving God to be with us today as we remember the victims of violence. And we're glad that the victims of violence, hopefully, that is going down in our city. So we ask you to be with us here today, our God, and however we name him, as we honor the victims of violence. This violence may have been intended or caused through negligence, natural disaster, but regardless of that, harm was caused to one of your precious creatures on earth, and everyone is precious. We ask you to bless the families and friends of victims of violence, restore their health and belief in your care for the victims. We ask you to give us the strength to support them during this time. We trust in your ability to heal and in your timing, for you are the great physician. We ask you to surround our families with your love and peace and help us to lean on you for comfort. Help us to realize that when one person is harmed, we are all harmed. Help us also to heal together that we may both honor those victims and honor them by resolute actions. Today we have the opportunity to also bless our civil leadership with the compassion to provide necessary resources to both prevent and reduce violence and make decisions that reflect your loving care for all. May you guide them always. We also ask you to protect our first responders and help them to recover from the tragedies they've witnessed, including all of them, and certainly, most importantly, the victims of violence and their relatives. Help us all to move from loss and pain to healing with your help. Help us not to drown in the difficulties and fires of oppression called by the violence in our world, or to become calloused. Help us to console the victims and extend their extended families and give meaning to their losses with your help and our hope. Amen.
Thank you, Father Mike. Since 1981, the National Crime Victims' Rights Week has challenged the nation to confront and remove barriers to achieving justice for all victims of crime. This week, you will hear about candlelight vigils, night marches, and other community events nationwide that connect people and bring awareness. Every April, the Department of Justice of Victims of Crimes leads communities nationwide in their annual National Crime Victims' Rights Week observances. This event also recognizes the dedication of those who work with crime victims. We are honored as a city to participate in such an important event and remembrance. This afternoon's focus, there are 3 words: kinship, healing, and connecting. At some point this evening, break away from the person or family who you came here with and bring those 3 words to life by introducing yourself to a stranger to help heal and connect with them, to help them grow and to grow your kinship. It is about community and the relationships we build. We've done a lot to bridge the gap, including the development of the San Francisco Department Community Liaison Unit, to gain the trust of community by providing support to victims and connecting them with services, including but not limited to hate crimes and prejudice-based incidences. We're thankful for the District Attorney Victim Services Division, which exists to help victims by providing support and assistance after a crime, during criminal prosecution, and after a verdict has been reached. And we are proud of our new Mayor's Office of Victims' Rights and Victim Services, which is meant to consolidate services to advance the rights of victims and witnesses of crime. This year's theme, Connecting and Healing, to make a meaningful difference in the lives of those who have experienced harm and help build a future where all individuals can live with safety, respect, and the assurance of justice. At this time, I would like to invite our Mayor of San Francisco, who is a champion for Mayor Daniel Lurie, to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank all of you for being here. I want to especially thank our hosts, Police Chief Bill Scott and District Attorney Brooke Jenkins. Thank you both very much. I want to take a moment and acknowledge Assistant Chief David Lazar, who this weekend announced his retirement after 34 years of service to San Francisco. We are grateful for your service to this city where you were born and raised. You and I have gotten to know each other very well over the last number of months, and you are relentless, you are unwavering, and we will have other times to thank you, but I wanted to express my gratitude to you for your incredible years of service to our city and to our county. Thank you, David. Today, we recognize National Crime Victim Rights Week, and we are here to support those who have experienced violence, as well as the families and loved ones who have been impacted by loss. We also recognize our public safety agencies and victim support services who do incredible work every day on behalf of victims. Healing from the trauma of crime requires not just time, but also the support of the strong and compassionate community that you see here today. That's why people like you, Maddie Scott, inspire me. And some of us know, but Maddie is here today. You face unimaginable loss, and you have turned that pain into purpose, like so many of you here today. Maddie has been a tireless advocate for survivors, working with families, youth, and communities most impacted by violence, and I'm going to echo what Assistant Chief just said, and I am proud to have appointed Maddie, you, to serve our city on the Police Commission. And she is not alone. The people here today, I'm looking at many of you. You all have stepped up to support each other and serve our community, and we are incredibly grateful to all of you. I've said this from day one. Public safety is my #1 priority. During National Crimes Victim Week, we are reminded of why public safety matters. We are reminded of the stories and the people and the stories that motivate us to do better. And while there is still so much work to do, I am proud of the progress our public safety and our law enforcement have done and the progress we have made. In San Francisco, property crime is down 35%, violent crime is down 15%, and car break-ins are at 22-year lows. But numbers alone don't, we can clap for that. we talk about this often. The numbers alone don't tell the full story. And what truly matters is that people feel safe in their neighborhoods. When we prioritize public safety, people come out to the Sunset Night Market or to downtown First Thursdays. Families can walk home at night feeling safer, and businesses can thrive. And fewer people suffer traumatic experience or lose loved ones. We must fully staff our police department and use every resource available to us so that we can prevent crime from happening in the first place. And God forbid, if something happens, we are committed to ensuring that every victim has access to the justice and services they need to rebuild their lives. As we walk together today, let this be a symbol of our unity and resilience. And as we plant these trees that we will do so in a few minutes, let it remind us of that healing. And that, like growth, it takes time, care, and community. And may it stand strong just as we must stand strong for ourselves, for each other, and for our city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Lurie, for your kind words, and I'm grateful for the remaining weeks I have in the San Francisco Police Department. The work continues, for sure. All right, at this time, I would like to call up our Bill Scott for a few words. Chief Scott.
Good afternoon, or good evening. Let me start by thanking everybody for being here, and David, thank you. I'll have plenty to say in the coming weeks, but just thank you for your service to the city. I also want to thank you, Mayor Lurie, for your into public safety and making public safety the #1 priority in your administration, because that is why we are here, not just for public safety, but for each other. Our District Attorney, Brooke Jenkins, who has been an incredible partner and continues to be an incredible partner, thank you. Commissioner Maddie Scott, her work goes back decades, and you all know her passion, but now she has a different role as one of our commissioners. I'm looking forward to what you bring to this police department and bring to the city in your new role. And Commissioner Larry Yee, for everything you do. Ms. Sherry Baltadano, looking forward to hearing you speak, because you always inspire me and you always inspire us. And then Dr. Gina Castro-Rodriguez, thank you for being here. Also very inspirational, and your expertise and your passion to the reason that we are here and to help victims is just incredible. So I'm going to say a few words and then give it to the next speaker. But I just want to say that this is a different type of event that we're having this year, and this is the 3rd year that we've done this, and there's so many people here that have helped this come to be. Thank you for getting the grant for us, and to the staff in the chief's office, Lisa, Al Duarte, Ken Lee, Adrian Starks, Maddie Wood, Francisco Rico, and who am I missing? Janita, Miranda. They have been incredible in terms of making this happen, but who I want to thank the most is standing right behind us, and that's Acting Lieutenant Jim O'Meara from our Community Engagement Division, because quiet behind the scenes, but he just gets it done. And then the last person is retired Sergeant Ray Padmore, who is right here behind the stage working. Sergeant Padmore, who retired and came back to help this city, and he is dedicated and relentless in what he does for this city, even in retirement, working as a part-time employee. So it's not by accident that we're here. We're able to be with some of the most loving and brave people that we know, and it's you, the survivors, and particularly the survivors of victims of homicide and violent crime. You've dedicated your life to advocate for others and to give back to the community, even when the community has taken so much from you. Your strength is humbling, and a constant inspiration to me and the entire San Francisco Police Department. I want to be very clear about the nature of violence and what it does to each one of us and what it does to our community. When you or someone you know or love is a victim of a crime, especially a violent crime, the trauma and impact can not only be life-changing, but it can be generational. We can read and we can study about this, but not many of us can actually comprehend the impacts unless we have gone through it or we know or love somebody who have gone through it. And I admire you all for everything that you continue to do to lift this issue up and try to create a community where nobody else has to go through what you have gone through. Violence changes the way you think. It takes a toll on you. It changes the way you see the world, and it changes the way you see other people. It can also make you feel very alone at times. And I want to tell you that you are not alone. Because of your bravery and your resilience, it inspires people like us in this police department and our mayor and our district attorney and everybody that's here to support you and those that aren't to stand with you, because we are all in this together. So our commitment to you as a team, as a city, as a police department, we know that no one deserves to have a life that is impacted by crime or violence. And in San Francisco, we continue to work to support the people and organizations who do the work to ensure that we have not only programs in place to help survivors, but that we do everything that we can to prevent the next incident from happening. So we're committed to reducing crime and doing everything possible, not only to reduce crime, but to make you feel safe. And that is not easy. But I know together, with the leadership of the people on this stage and with your leadership, we can do it. No one should feel unsafe walking down the streets, going to work, getting out of their in their own home. But when you're a victim of crime or a victim of violent crime or somebody that you know has been impacted, you do feel unsafe. And that is the reason that all of us who wear a uniform, all of us that are in the system, all of us that are advocates and victims' rights advocates, that's why we do what we do. Our job is to honor you and support you every day, support your families. From our sworn officers to our crime investigators to our non-sworn members to our community engagement division, our San Francisco Police Department will do everything we can to bring justice to you and your families by making resources accessible and by working with our allied public safety agencies and community-based organizations. Now, as Chief Lazar said, the theme this year is connecting, kinship, and healing. And that is why we are here to facilitate just that, connecting. We're here together. Many of you have been connected for many, many years. But sometimes we have to do things like this to remind ourselves that it doesn't stop ever with the connection that's needed to really move us forward. Kinship. I think that speaks for itself. These issues sometimes, these tragedies bring us together, and they bring a kinship that's forged through tragedy, that's forged understanding, that's forged through empathy and caring for one another in those times of tragedy. We'll plant a tree in a minute, as the mayor has said, and that tree is a symbol. It's a symbol of the future. It's a symbol of planting roots. It's a symbol of not forgetting those that we have lost, and it's a symbol that we are all connected, because we will plant that tree together, and we are not only are connected with each other, we're connected with the earth that we live on. So I hope as we take our walk to plant the tree, that you do exactly what Assistant Chief Lazar said. Take the time to connect with somebody you don't know, because those connections will be what gets us through the difficult times. And this work is not easy, and the times are difficult. We need to be connected, we need to be together, and we need to love one another. And I think that's exactly what we are and who we are. So thank you for being here. And thank you, Mayor, for your leadership, and thank you all for your partnership.
Thank you very much, Chief Scott. Before I call up the next speaker, I just want to Assistant Sheriff Tanzania Carter here in the front row. Thank you for being here. I want to recognize Annie Chung from Self-Help for the Elderly and for everything you do. Yes, Annie, please stand up and thank you. I want to recognize Sarah Wan and all her CYC team that is here. We call both of them quite often in the community and they help us greatly connect services to victims, and we just thank you for all that you do. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call up our District Attorney, Brooke Jenkins.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I sat here reflecting for a moment on the why. I don't often talk publicly about what led me to become a prosecutor. That was not my plan out of law school. I never really thought about it until my own tragedy occurred, which was the passing of my firstborn son back in 2013, unexpectedly shortly after his birth. And when you mentioned, Mayor, finding purpose in your pain, that's what I had to do. I had to find purpose again because I thought it was at that time becoming a mother. And when you bury your child, you're in a fog of where do I go next? And I decided at that point, after months of sort of sitting in grief, that my purpose would be advocating for other people. That my purpose would be being a voice for people who probably were going through something similar to me for different reasons, and making sure that their stories were told. And I said at the time that I was hired at the DA's office that ultimately I wanted to rise up into our homicide unit, because no one else would likely understand what it feels like to put your child in a grave. I did just that, and I spent 1.5 years in our homicide unit after serving as our hate crimes prosecutor in our sex assault unit. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter what type of violent crime you suffer, most of the time people feel very unseen and unheard. When you've been robbed violently and you proceed to walk down the street after that, nobody else understands how hyper-vigilant you feel because you don't trust that something else isn't going to happen to you. Or for all the women and men who have been sexually assaulted and feel that they have to migrate through life with nobody understanding the trauma that they carry. And each and every day that I have to speak to mothers and fathers who have had to bury their children due to homicide, and try to impress upon them without making it about me that I understand the pain of never getting to see your baby again. Who I don't get to talk to are the siblings who now don't have a brother or a sister, the nieces and nephews who no longer have an uncle, the children who often are left without their fathers. And that's who we forget. We have to make sure that we do our jobs as law enforcement. So at the very least, our victims don't walk around carrying that trauma and injustice. So often, my role as a prosecutor is condemned as the oppressor of people of color. But what I try to remind the public is that so often what is ignored is how many people of color suffer as victims of violent crime, and that we deserve justice too. That it's our communities who continue to seek justice amongst ourselves when the system doesn't do its job to provide it for us. And so as I sit here now, I stand steadfast in my office's commitment to working with the police department and all of our law enforcement partners to obtain justice for anybody who is a victim of crime in San Francisco, to do our jobs. Because I know that one thing the mothers can tell us is that we don't want our children to be forgotten. My son's name was Justice. Ironically, I didn't know he would pass when I gave him that name. And every day I get to carry that word, right? Nobody knows that's his name, but I say that word quite often in my job. But I know that you want Aubrey's name. to be remembered, right? So that the world knows that they still existed. And so I stand with all of you on that. We will make sure that we elevate your babies' names, that we continue to support you in the purpose you have found beyond your pain, because that's what we have to do. Before I sit down, I want to shout out members of my office who do often the work that is unseen. So many people just think my office is lawyers. It is not. I thank the lawyers for what they do. It's vitally important, but they don't do it alone. They do it alongside paralegals who make sure that all of our evidence is collected and organized and turned over to the defense. They do it alongside investigators who try to support the work of SFPD and follow up on things that need to be obtained, who track down witnesses to make sure that they come to court. And alongside victim advocates, I see a bunch of them here today, who not only carry vicarious trauma of holding the hands of our victims through the court process, explaining to them how things work, sometimes just holding their hands or letting them cry on their shoulders. I've seen victim advocates have to sit with witnesses who are testifying up on the witness stand, just so that they don't feel alone. But they are often unseen. We see you. We see you and we thank you, because our victims could not get through it the way that they do without you. And so, once again, thank you to all of our partners, our community partners, our law enforcement partners, to everybody who supports my office in this work. We will continue to fight for justice. That is our job. No community will be overlooked. No case will be minimized. We will do everything that we are supposed to do to protect and elevate victims of crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, D.A. Jenkins. I would now like to call up a survivor, Ms. Sherry Ball-Tadano. Thank you, Sherry.
Whew. I'm normally not a speaker, but I am today. Good afternoon. My name is Sherry Ball-Tadano. At this time, I would like to give thanks to all who made this day possible and for giving me this beautiful platform, starting with San Francisco's Mayor Daniel Lurie, San Francisco's District Attorney Brooke Jenkins, San Francisco's Police Chief Bill Scott, San Francisco's Police Commissioner Maddie Scott, and special thanks to who was my advocate at the time, my court-appointed advocate during the time of my trial, Maria Reynoso, for always going above her duty of call, with always showing me, my family, her love and compassion, who is now San Francisco's Deputy Director of Victim Services Department. Congratulations, Maria. You did it. I have been a survivor for going on almost 11 years. This September 10th, my son Ronnie Lamont Goodman Jr. was murdered by community violence. Back in September 2014. This all took place on the streets of San Francisco on 24th and Cap Street in the Mission District. My son was tased, then he was stabbed 39 times, had his eyes taken out, and his throat was slit. As he laid out in the ground, bleeding out, they still continued kicking him in his head and all over his body. 911 was called. When they arrived to the scene, they started medical attention. He was transported to San Francisco General Hospital, where he took his last breath. So after the loss of my son, that just turned me and my family's world literally upside down, at that point, I knew that I was going to need some help on how to deal with the loss of my son. So I reached out to Maddie Scott, who I had heard that had a support group for mothers and families that have lost loved ones due to homicide. But to make a long story short, I felt like I was just a bird that had my wings clipped. And Maddie Scott had took me under her wings until the day that she knew that I could fly on my own and that I was ready to turn my pain into purpose by helping other ones with their loss. So as a survivor, all that I can say to you is to seek help, because you will need it. Get yourself into a support group, or you can always reach Victim Services Department. They are there to help you. So as a survivor, I hope that I have impacted someone today with my strength, my courage, and to let you know that you will heal, but in your own timing. But first, you must allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to be loved and to be loved again, and to fight and fight hard for it, for what is now your new journey that you were given no choice, like I was. God bless you, from Sherry Baltodano, the mother of Ronnie Lamont Goodman Jr. And I also want to take this time to thank the homicide investigators, because I know when my trial came and I was going through it, they left no stone unturned. That was a promise that they made to me, and I just thank you for the diligent work that you did, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Ms. Baltodano. I would now like to call up our keynote speaker, Dr. Gina Castro-Rodriguez, a nationally and internationally recognized expert in trauma, interpersonal violence, victim advocacy. Dr. Castro-Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you first for being here today. I'm privileged to be here with all of you. I want to thank Mayor Lurie, Chief Scott, DA Jenkins, Commissioner Scott, and I also want to thank you, Sherry, for bringing your son's memory into this conversation and into the space here today. It's an honor to be here with you during National Victims of Crime Week, a week to honor all crime survivors, remember the victims that we've lost, and to recommit to the work of healing, justice, and transformation. I've worked for over 30 years on behalf of crime survivors, and I've walked alongside of survivors as an advocate in the community, a policymaker in government, and an educator and researcher in academia. But the role that's closest to my heart is that of an advocate, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about what survivors need and why it's so important for all of you to stand with survivors. I've seen the incredible strength of people who've experienced unimaginable pain and loss. I was the chief of the Victim Services Division at the DA's office for 7 years and worked alongside some amazing victim advocates who help thousands of people every year negotiate the worst moments of their life. I've seen what happens when systems fail also, when they ignore or punish or disrespect people. Heartbreaking to watch that happen on top of the pain that they've already endured. But I'm here today not just because of my experiences, but because, like so many advocates, survivors, and allies out there, I feel the urgency of this moment that we're living in, and we need to act. The current state of this country and the world is a moment of significance and candor. We're witnessing a surge in fear, hate-driven violence, and suppression of survivors in a political environment where safeguarding the most vulnerable is no longer a given. This is not just a policy issue, it's a moral one. We cannot afford to look away and to stay silent and sanitize the truth. If we are to truly honor survivors, we must be brave enough to know what's happening. Communities are under siege, rights are being stripped, and trauma is being exacerbated. I've spent 2 decades teaching about trauma and how it affects people and how it affects the next generation and our communities. And I'm really honored to have worked with the police department, the mayor's office, and the DA's office to help train and support people who are doing this work so that we do a better job working with survivors. But this time in our history demands courage, clarity, and relentless commitment to justice. Let's be honest about where we are. Immigrant survivors, women, families, and trans folks are being forced into the shadows, afraid to report violence and crime for fear of deportation or retaliation. LGBTQ+ youth are under attack in schools, in the streets, in policies, and told that who they are is something to be punished or feared. Children and youth are the most vulnerable among us, and yet they are being harmed in more and more spaces, at home, in schools, online, and they have fewer and fewer healthy adults to go to. This is all not an accident. It's a result of decisions, policy choices, cultural shifts, and systemic neglect. And these choices are creating generations of untreated and compounded trauma that we will deal with for generations to come. We must reframe what we mean by safety. Too often, public safety is reduced to policing and incarceration. But let me tell you, healing is safety. Support is prevention, and care is protection. When we invest in healing survivors, when we help people recover from trauma, we're preventing future harm. We are disrupting the cycle. We're building the conditions for safer communities, and public safety isn't only about responding to harm, it's about preventing it. And that means centering survivors and investing in their healing. In these 3 decades, I've witnessed bravery beyond words. A child testifying against their abuser, even though they're terrified. A transgender youth determined to seek justice in a courtroom that once didn't provide her justice. And many elderly immigrant clients who got to raise their voice and speak their truth for the first time, even though they're suffering from harm. These stories are not rare, they are everywhere. Survivors are not just victims. They are leaders, they are experts, and they are healers. But healing doesn't happen in isolation. They need all of us. We must stand shoulder to shoulder, refusing to let anyone fall through the cracks. So what do? We must fund services, community-based, system-based, culturally responsive services, things that help people heal and recover from their crime. We must make these resources visible, responsive, accessible, and reliable. We must stand up for immigrant survivors, LGBTQ youth, and communities of color, those who are most often harmed and least helped. We must build bridges across sectors, community, government, academia, because no one organization can do this work alone. And no survivor should have to navigate systems that are fractured, re-traumatizing, or indifferent. We need to shift power and give survivors not just services, but leadership in shaping how we respond to violence and prevent it in the first place. I'll end with this. When we center healing, we don't just help individuals recover. We interrupt cycles of violence. We prevent future harm, and we create a world the survivors deserve, a world where justice is not just about punishment, but also about repair. This is the work, this is the moment, and it's up to all of us now more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castro Rodriguez. And now for our last speaker, at least up here, let's give a warm welcome to our San Francisco Police Commissioner, Maddie Scott.
Ooh, praise God. Praise God. We're here today because of him, okay? 29 years ago, this happened to me. 29 years ago. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. First, I want to thank our mayor, Mayor Lurie, who's not here right now. I've seen him leave. But thank him for what he's put first, is public safety on his agenda. Thank you, Chief Scott. Thank you, Dave Lazar, which I'm a little upset that you retired. You didn't tell me nothing about that. You and your wonderful wife. But anyway, and Brooke Jenkins, our DA, to you, Gina Castro, for all your work that you have done, and our sheriff, and everybody that's out here, our chief, fire chief, and all of our victim advocates who are here, and to the mothers, to all our mothers, Sister Paulette, Sister Katina Johnson, and the new mother who I just spoke to earlier, who lost her son 8 months ago. I applaud her for being here today because when it happened to me, I couldn't function for the next 3 years. I come to you today because it'll be 30 years next year, 30 years that I lost my youngest son, George C. Scott, to gun violence in my neighborhood, in my community. 29 years ago, there was no victim services. Not for people that look like me. 29 years ago, we didn't have the services we have today at City Hall. We didn't have the services we have today in the DA office, nor the police department. So we have come a very long way. We have made a lot of progress. We have made a lot of progress thanks to you, Chief Scott, thanks to our mayors, our former Mayor Breed and Mayor Daniel Lurie, putting public safety first. Thanks to you to all of our CBOs and our pastors who are not here, our faith-based group. Those pastors, they did a magnificent job and continue to do a magnificent job for us mothers when we lose our children. Thank you for all everyone has done. 29 years ago, when I lost my youngest son, George C. Scott, I have here that every breath is a gift. Every breath is a gift. I lost my son in my community to gun violence while attending a graduation party on July 17, 1996. An altercation happened at that graduation party, and my son knew that one of the gentlemen then at that time was carrying a weapon, and he took them outside to resolve it so that the party can go on. And an altercation started outside of that party between those two gentlemen. One had a gun, the other one was intoxicated. He pulled that gun, and my son was shot several times with a semi-automatic weapon and died right there on the scene. People saw it. No one came forward to say anything. My community saw what happened, and no one said anything. That hurt me to the core. The very next day, July 18th, was my youngest grandson, my son's 5-year-old son. It was his 6th birthday. I had to be the bearer of bad news to him and tell him that his dad died and went to heaven. I couldn't tell him how his dad died. I couldn't tell him who shot his dad. And the scream that I heard on that phone from my 6-year-old son, it's a scream that shakes me to my core every day, that wakes me up to do this work. It's a scream that I hear from mothers like the mother I heard from today to say it's gonna be all right. It's a scream that wakes me up to get up and do this work, to bombard City Hall, to bombard the steps of the Hall of Justice with mothers. That's what it does. From San Francisco to Sacramento, all the way to Washington, D.C. And I will not stop. I will not stop. I will not stop. I do it because, not for my child, I do it for all of us. I do it for your child, for our children in schools. Our children shouldn't have to be going to school having gun drills. We didn't have that when I was growing up. They shouldn't have to hide in closets and under desks to hide from a person that's on campus that's angry and didn't get something resolved. We should be able to go to movie theaters. We should be able to go to a concert. We should be able to go anywhere in this country without having to look over our shoulders, afraid. We have to change this, and we can change it. And we are changing it here in San Francisco. I'm proud, very proud of the work that we have done in this city with gun violence prevention. I'm proud of the legislation that we got passed with ghost guns, semi-automatic assault weapons, and all of the great legislation that we have gotten done here in this city, all the way to Sacramento, and now all the way through the United States government. We have more work to do, because this is about all of us and none of us. We must stop the killing and start the healing. We must stop the killing with the fentanyl epidemic. We must stop the killing. We're not telling on who did what they did to our children. We must stop the killing with this gun violence. And we must stop this killing with the hatred of the LGBT community, the hatred of young black and brown boys, the fear that is perpetrated all throughout this country towards young men of color. We must stop the fear, because this is about all of us and none of us, and we must stop the killing and start the healing. And the only way that we're going to do it is we do it together, hand in hand, like we've done here with the police department, the DA's office, our sheriff's department, and our mayor. We can do this. We can do this. I have faith that we can. No matter who's in the White House, remember, we outnumber the haters. We outnumber the haters. Say that to them. We outnumber the haters. We outnumber the haters. Let that sink into you. Let that sink into your core. Because that's why we're here today. We're going to plant a tree. We're going to plant a tree. And what does a tree represent? Life. 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 It all started with a tree in the Garden of Eden. And it all ended on the tree with Christ on the cross. But he rose. He rose. He rose. He didn't stay there. And guess what? We rise too. We rise too. We rise today on this day of Crime Victors United. We rise to say no more. We rise together with our SFPD and our DA's office and our mayor. We rise with every survivor that's out here. We rise with those who are formerly incarcerated. We rise for our children's safety. We rise for their future. We rise. And as they said in the movie, which is one of my favorite lines, baby children, we don't die, we multiply. We don't die, we multiply. And as I say, this is about all of us or none of us. And we will stop the killing and start the healing, because this is about all of us or none of us. And each one must reach one and teach one. And that is our goal. When we do that, open up your mouths, open up your homes and your neighborhoods and your communities, and let's organize and get our families together, our communities together. Let's start talking to one another. Let not the fear trap us. Let not the fear stagnate us. Let not the fear perpetrate us to keep us from calling up our DA to tell them how we feel, to call up our police officers and tell them how we feel. Because at the end of the day, I want your son to go home safely. At the end of the day, I want our officers to go home safely to their families. At the end of the day, I want the school teachers to be able to teach in a classroom environment safely. At the end of the day, I want to be able to go sit in the movie theater and enjoy myself, and go to a concert and I have to worry about anybody shooting me. We have to get it. We have it. We have the ingredients. It's right here. It's just like a good pot of gumbo that I make. We need all the ingredients. We need all the ingredients for that gumbo to be good. We need the crab, the sausages, and the shrimp. We need the police department, the DA, the social workers, and the teachers, and the young people. We are that pot of gumbo. We are that pot of gumbo for San Francisco, for the state, and for our nation. Together, we will. Together, we will. Together, we will. We will end gun violence. We will end gun violence. We will end gun violence. This is the gumbo right here. You, me, us, all of us, we are the gumbo for justice. We are the gumbo that will end violence for all survivors. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Scott. If I could ask you to come back up here, Chief Scott would like to make a presentation.
So, Commissioner, on behalf of our mayor Daniel Lurie, there's a proclamation from the City and County of San Francisco. Whereas National Victim Rights Week is an opportunity cannot think of a better person to present this to than you, Commissioner Matty Scott.
I accept this for all you mothers. You, my sister. You. Right there. 8 months. 8 months ago, she lost her son to violence. Put your arms around her. Put your arms around her. She needs it right now. That's what it's about. That this is for you. This is for you. This is for you, Paulette. This is for all the mothers, Katina, Laura, Sherry, and Liz, and many who are not here. This is what this is for. We thank you, San Francisco, for all you have done and all that you continue to do. We in it to win it, and together we will. Can I hear you say that? We're in it to win it, and together we will. Say it like you mean it. We're in it to win it, and together we will. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Commissioner Scott. All right, now is the moment we have been waiting for. We've been waiting for a lot of moments. We love our speakers, and now we're going to move to our Victims' Rights March. And so here's what we're going to do. Our march is going to go around this park area. You have retired Sergeant Ray Padmore that is waving his arms like he's directing airplanes to land. And what I'd like to do right now, before anyone moves, if I can have, where Deputy Chief Maswani is standing, if I can have Chief Scott, DA Jenkins, Chief Crispin, Sheriff Miyamoto, Chief Tullock, Chief Paul Yep, our police commissioners, Director Heidi Lee, and Sarah Wan and Annie Chung. If you could all meet over here, because I would like for you to lead this march. And then for our homicide team, if you can take up the end of the march in a symbolic way of supporting our victims today. So let's get everybody in place. And I'd also like our General Manager, Phil Ginsberg, and Chief Dave Murphy to also be in the lead as we are here in your park. All right, one other announcement. We're going to have an uplifting song by Miss Deltrina Johnson, who will lead us in song as we walk to the tree planting ceremony.